my passport 42. Peregrine is her name, home port San Francisco. I know I introduce myself that way in each of my videos, but in case somebody new is watching, they know who I am and where I am going. I'm going from Papua, New Zealand to Hilo, Hawaii, about a 3,900 mile passage. And I've been out since May 14th, 2022. Today is June 13 or 14, 2022. So we've been out here for a while, and a lot of stuff has happened, and that's what I wish to show you. You can see I have a print here on the bow. That's a new one. I'm kind of excited. About 5 days ago, I set my sails for the night. I'll show you in just a moment how I set my head sail. And I have a staysail I set, and I use a second reef for night sailing. And then, of course, when I sleep in the cockpit, I listen for any change of wind. But that's been my success set for night sailing. And what happened about 5 days ago, 6 days ago, is all of a sudden, it was about 10 o'clock at night, the wind started to come up, and they were 18, 19 knots off the beam, and they got to 20, 21, 22, and I started to think, now watch this has happened before, and it'll come down. Well, it crept up 25, 26, it started to hit 30, and then that's when I got here. And what happened, unfortunately, as you can see, I think it's called the Maramu. A wind out of anywhere just happened, and it hit 41 knots and put me over about 30, 32 degrees for 2 hours. And unfortunately, it blew out all of my sails. I stood watching it underneath our Dodger here, and I could see that the head sail was torn, and it was just a matter of time that I could see that the other two were going to be blown out too. But of course, I thought about going out trying to save the sails. Not a wise thing. 41 knots equals to 47 miles per hour if you're U.S. And that's not something you want to try to do, especially when you're heating 30 degrees. So I'll show you a little bit. I prepared for circumnavigation with 2 storm sails for my smaller boat. And these are 2 I brought along when I bought Peregrine over 3.5 years ago. And that's what I had to use to install the storm jib as a staysail, and then this one for the main. They're made for a 10.5 meter boat, and Peregrine is a 13.5 meter boat, so I'm not getting full power out of these 2 sails. When I did buy Peregrine, I had dug down into the lazarettes and found a 150 Genoa, whatever, however you want to say. And I thought, well, no, that will be something I'll probably never want to use, because in my last boat I had a 150, and it's a lot of sail, and you can get overpowered. If you notice up there on that, there's a mark about halfway. That's what I set when I want to heave to for the night. That's the setting on both the threaded head sail, and now this one is that in case I need to heave to, I can tack over to port, and the sail will back, and I'll match the tiller with that, and then I swing my sails over to starboard, which helps maintain a slow speed. I'm not sure if that scheme would work with these 2 smaller sails. I'm going to show you the indicator that I'm having to use to see which way the wind is coming. It's only because the wind indicator and speed indicator, the apparent wind, have disappeared, and it comes back infrequently and makes it hard for me to judge. So I have to do my own personal experience of how much wind, and then I look out here and judge the wind and seas by the number of whitecaps. It's just something I've learned over the time. We're about 220, maybe 200 miles from the equator, at 2 degrees south and maybe 20 minutes. I've had an awful lot of trouble westing. I was expecting the southeast trades to push me northeast. That happened for about 2 days. I was pretty pleased with that. But for the most part, unfortunately, the winds have been out of the east or northeast, which then I just have to go north, which is not where I want to go to Gale. At least on I'll take you down below. I'll show you what I've done. This is a cockpit of Peregrine. Let me turn around here. I'm still clipped in. So what I've done here, you'll see, I've set up the storm jib and main coiled right there. Being as that I've on have been on a starboard tack almost since leaving New Zealand. I set these. It's been kind of interesting how to set them with the winds changing over so often, but I have found the success setting right there. I must advise you, this is set up for single-handed sailing. That's what I'm doing. And for the most part, anybody that's considering a passage should have appropriate storm sails and complementary sails also, because stuff does happen, and it has on this passage. The big boy here is one I consider use for the head sail. Right now she's out, and it's only because the winds are down, maybe 10 to 12 to 15, and if it pipes up, then I'll bring her in, and that's what I wish to show you over here. So there's the wind indicator. She comes and goes. So it's, we're 14 knots now, and you can see the arrow is pointing to 30 degrees. I've had to judge that as a measure of Peregrine sailing on the wind, on the beam, which she sails best, again on the beam. And we're going just due north, a little bit off the north. I don't know if you can see these. There we go. Again, there's the Traveler with the head sail. A little bit of advice for single-handed sailing and also people that are going offshore, coastal cruising and so on. You can see my emergency tiller right there and handy. My advice is to have that out. Unfortunately, I had an experience up in the Marquesas out in the island of Tawata, where I lost my wheel and had to dig out the emergency tiller, which was down in the bottom of the Lazaret. This is an old head sails sheet that I can use for warp if possible, if I need to. So I'll come back around here. This is where I sleep at night. See an old ACR EPIRB right there, And you can see the clutches here. All of my lines lead aft to the cockpit, and they are usually attached right here. You see main sheet, main up, and reef 1, reef 2. And they're all stowed back there because I'm obviously not needing them. And then I also have a backup EPIRB right there I got in Fiji, and both EPIRBs are registered with NOAA in the US, so they know who I am and who to contact and so on. So here we got the he's up there. Situation is now that I've got to get to Hilo, Hawaii to do some repairs. And the intention is to sail into San Francisco, but that's going to be a decision made in Hilo, Hawaii. The other thing that's been bothering me, a nuisance, and part of in the world of what happens, is the fact that I've had a fuel issue and a battery issue. Is that I had a fuel leak leaving the Bay of Islands, a dripping of the fuel out of the fuel injector pump. So I returned along with the problem of my autopilot gave up. So I returned to the Bay of Islands there in Okinawa and had some repairs done. I set out again and made my way up to where we are now. But the problem was that this fuel issue has developed again, and so drip out of the injectors. And what happens when there's air in the line is it won't start. So I've had to leave the engine probably 60 or 70% of the time to get that airlock out, and it's been successful. But what happened in that is the cranking it wound down the starting battery, so I've had to put over the emergency parallels, which has lots of power. I have 827 batteries, and kick in to start. And that's so I have the fuel issue, the battery issue, and the storm sail issues. And then this little guy down here again is a speed indicator. So that's what's going on. Just going to come out here. So my advice to you is to prepare for anything and everything, because it does happen en route. And it did happen to me, and I'm not done yet. Which is, I'm expecting anything at any time. And I guess that's the best advice, is be prepared for anything and know how to do like engine repairs and so on. But it's been a good passage. Even with the thunderstorms. So thank you for watching.